The world came closer to World War III than most people know, and it didn't happen because one man made a decision that changed everything. This is not a movie story, this is real story. There was fear, there were missiles ready to launch, and millions of lives were only minutes away from disaster. But in the middle of pressure, anger, and danger, one leader chose patience instead of pride. Today, you will understand how one decision stopped a global war and why the world still feels the effect of that movement. In October 1962, the world was divided into two powerful sides. On one side was the United States, on the other side was the Soviet Union. Both countries had nuclear weapons, both were strong, both didn't trust each other. This time in history was called the Cold War. It was not direct war with soldiers fighting every day, but it was full of tension, fear, and competition. One small mistake could start a war that would destroy entire cities in seconds. The leader of the United States was President John F. Kennedy. He was young, calm, and intelligent, but he was also under great pressure. The leader of the Soviet Union was Nikita Khrushchev. He was strong, bold, and sometimes unpredictable. Both men wanted to show power, both wanted their country to be respected, but deep inside, neither wanted nuclear war. The problem was that pride, fear, and politics were pushing them toward a very dangerous situation. Everything changed when American spy planes flew over Cuba and took secret photographs. Cuba was a small island country very close to the United States, only about 90 miles away from Florida. When the photos were developed, American officials were shocked. The Soviet Union was building nuclear missile bases in Cuba. These missiles could reach major American cities in just minutes. Washington, New York, and other cities were suddenly under direct threat. When President Kennedy saw the images, he understood immediately that this was not a small issue. If the missiles became active, the United States would live under constant danger. But attacking Cuba immediately could start World War III. Kennedy gathered his closest advisors in a secret group called XCOM. They met every day in the White House. They debated, argued, and searched for a solution. The world outside had no idea how serious the situation was. Some military leaders wanted to bomb Cuba immediately. They believed strong action was necessary. They said waiting would show weakness. They warned that delay could allow the missiles to become operational. Pressure was heavy on Kennedy's shoulders. The military was confident in their power. Many Americans expected a strong response, but Kennedy knew something important. If the United States attacked Cuba, the Soviet Union might respond by attacking American allies in Europe. Meanwhile, Nikita Khrushchev believed he was protecting Cuba. Cuba had recently become communist under Fidel Castro. The United States had already tried to remove Castro once in a failed invasion called the Boy of Pigs. Khrushchev feared America would try again by placing missiles in Cuba. He believed he was balancing power because the United States and missiles near the Soviet Union and Turkey. Each side felt threatened, each side believed it was acting defensively. On October 22, 1962, President Kennedy spoke to the American people on television. His face was serious, his voice was calm but firm. He announced that the United States had discovered Soviet missiles in Cuba. He declared a naval blockade around the island. No Soviet ships carrying military equipment would be allowed to reach Cuba. This decision was critical. It was strong but not immediately violent. It gave space for negotiation. The world had its breath. Soviet ships were already on their way to Cuba. American warships moved into position. If Soviet ships tried to break the blockade, American forces were ready to stop them. One small misunderstanding, one wrong move, one nervous soldier could start a shooting war. Nuclear weapons were on high alert. Military bases were ready. Families around the world watched the news with fear. Schools practiced emergency drills in case of attack. Behind closed doors, secret messages were exchanged between Kennedy and Khrushchev. Some messages were aggressive, others were emotional and personal. Khrushchev wrote that war would not benefit anyone. Kennedy replied carefully, trying to avoid insults or threats. Both leaders understood the danger, but neither wanted to appear weak in front of their people or their military advisors. It was a delicate balance between strength and peace. One of the most dangerous moments happened when an American spy plane was shot down over Cuba. The pilot was killed. Many military officials demanded immediate retaliation. They argued that America must respond with force. Kennedy faced a painful decision. If he attacked, the Soviet Union might answer with greater force. If he did nothing, he might look weak. The tension inside the White House was intense. Time was running out. At the same time, something even more dangerous happened underwater. An American Navy ship detected a Soviet submarine near the blockade line. The submarine was carrying a nuclear torpedo. The American ship dropped small explosive charges to force it to surface. Inside the submarine, Soviet officers believed war might have already started. They considered launching the nuclear torpedo. If they had done so, it could have started to chain reaction of nuclear strikes. But on that submarine, one officer refused to agree to the launch. His name was Vasily Arkhipov. He believed they didn't have enough information. He argued against firing the torpedo because of his calm thinking. The submarine surfaced instead of launching its weapon. Many historians believe that decision alone may have saved the world. Sometimes history changes not because of loud speeches but because of quiet courage under pressure. Back in Washington, Kennedy received two different messages from Khrushchev. The first message was emotional and suggested removing the missiles in exchange for a promise that the United States would not invade Cuba. The second message was harsher and demanded that America removes its missiles from Turkey. Kennedy and his advisors carefully studied both messages. They decided to respond publicly to the first message and privately to the second. This careful strategy worked. Kennedy agreed publicly not to invade Cuba. Privately, he agreed to remove American missiles from Turkey later. But this agreement was kept secret at the time. On October 28, 1962, Khrushchev announced that the Soviet Union would dismantle its missile bases in Cuba. The crisis was over. World War III had been avoided. The world slowly began to breathe again. But the story does not end there. This crisis changed global politics forever. Both sides realized how close they had come to destruction. After this event, direct communication between Washington and Moscow was improved. A special hotline was created so leaders could speak directly in future emergencies. Nuclear arms control agreements were later signed. The fear of total destruction pushed both sides toward more careful diplomacy. President Kennedy later said that the greatest danger was not bad intentions but misunderstanding. In moments of crisis, fear can grow quickly, pride can block peace, anger can hide reason. What saved the world during those 13 days was not military power alone, but patience, communication, and the courage to step back from the edge. This story reminds us that history is not only about armies and weapons, it is also about decisions made in quiet rooms. It is about leaders choosing calm instead of panic. It is about listening even when anger feels stronger. The world today still has tensions, powerful weapons, and political conflicts. But the lesson from 1962 remains clear. One wise decision can stop disaster. And here is the most powerful truth. Many people believe wars start because leaders want destruction, but sometimes wars start because leaders fail to understand each other. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, both Kennedy and Khrushchev feared being attacked. Both believed they were defending their nations. When they finally listened instead of shooting, peace became possible. The world didn't see dramatic explosions. There was no global battlefield, but there was a silent victory. A victory patience over pride, a victory of communication over skills, a victory that saved millions of lives before they were even in danger. When the crisis officially ended, the public felt relief, but inside both governments, the emotions were much more complex. President Kennedy was praised as strong and calm, yet he knew how close the world had come to disaster. Some of his military advisors were still unhappy. They believed the United States should have attacked Cuba. They felt America had shown weakness by secretly agreeing to remove missiles from Turkey. Kennedy understood something they didn't. Winning a war is never better than preventing one. In Moscow, Nikita Khrushchev also faced criticism. Some leaders in the Soviet Union thought he had stepped back too easily. They believed placing missiles in Cuba had been a bold move, but removing them made the Soviet Union look weak. Khrushchev knew the risk was too high. A nuclear exchange would not create victory, it would create destruction on a scale no human had ever seen. He chose survival over pride, even if it damaged his reputation at home. Behind the scenes, secret negotiation continued for weeks. American officials quickly prepared to remove missiles from Turkey as promised. This part of the agreement was not announced publicly because it could weaken NATO alliances. The world only knew that Soviet missiles were leaving Cuba. What most people didn't understand was that both sides had made compromises. Peace was not free, it required sacrifice, trust, and careful silence. The Cuban Missile Crisis became a lesson written in fear. Both superpowers realized that communication during crisis was too slow. Letters took hours or days. Messages were sometimes misunderstood. Because of the 1963, a direct hotline was created between Washington and Moscow. It was a simple communication line, but it carried enormous importance. Leaders could now speak directly during emergencies. This small cable became one of the most powerful tools for peace in modern history. The crisis also changed military thinking. Nuclear war was no longer an abstract idea. Leaders had felt its shadow closely. Families had feared it. Soldiers had prepared for it. The image of cities destroyed in minutes was no longer just the theory. Both sides began to understand that nuclear weapons were not normal weapons. They were weapons that could end civilizations. This understanding slowly pushed governments toward arms control agreements and limits on nuclear testing. Yet, even after the crisis ended, the world did not become peaceful overnight. The Cold War continued for decades. There were proxy wars in different regions. There was spying competition in space and political tension, but something important had changed. Leaders on both sides remembered October 1962. They remembered how quickly events had moved beyond control. That memory acted like a warning light whenever tensions rose again. President Kennedy often reflected on those 13 days. He once explained that one greatest mistake would have been acting too quickly. He believed that giving the opponent space to step back with dignity was important. If one side feels completely humiliated, it may respond with anger later. Kennedy understood that peace sometimes requires allowing your opponent to save face. This quiet wisdom prevented further escalation during the crisis. For Khrushchev, the political cost was heavier. A few years later, he was removed from power. Some historians believed the Cuban Missile Crisis weakened his positions inside the Soviet leadership. However, many experts also agree that his willingness to compromise prevented unimaginable destruction. Leadership is often judged by its strength, but sometimes the bravest act is stepping back from conflict. History can be unfair to those who choose peace quietly instead of victory loudly. One of the most dramatic truths about his crisis is how many moments could have gone wrong. The spy plane that was shot down could have triggered immediate bombing. The submarine commander could have launched the nuclear torpedo. A nervous soldier could have fired at the wrong time. A misunderstood message could have started retaliation. At several points, the future of humanity rested on minutes and decisions made under extreme stress. The story of Vasily Arkhipov, the Soviet submarine officer who refused to approve a nuclear launch, became known many years later. At the time, almost no one realized what had happened underwater. Inside that submarine, communication with Moscow was lost. The crew believed war might have already started. According to Soviet rules, launching the torpedo required agreement from three officers. Two agreed, Arkhipov didn't. His calm resistance stopped a nuclear explosion. This hidden moment shows that history is not controlled by one person alone. It is shaped by many individuals making choices. Presidents, advisors, military officers, and even unknown sailors can influence the future. When people ask who stopped World War III, the answer is not simple. It was not only Kennedy, it was not only Khrushchev, it was also those who chose caution instead of panic at critical seconds. The Cuban Missiles Crisis teaches another powerful lesson. Fear can grow faster than facts. During those days, both sides believed the other might attack first. Suspicion increased tension, but when direct communication began, both leaders understood that neither truly wanted nuclear war. Misunderstanding is dangerous. Assumptions can be deadly. Listening carefully can save lives. This lesson remains important in today's world where global tensions still exist. In modern times, nuclear weapons still exist in different countries. Technology has advanced, missiles are faster, communication is quicker, but political tension remains a reality. The events of 1962 remind leaders today that power must be balanced with responsibility. A strong nation is not one that rushes into war, it is one that knows when to pause, speak, and search for peaceful solutions even under pressure. There is also a human side to this story that often gets forgotten. During those 13 days, ordinary families prepared for the worst. Some built small shelters, some prayed. Parents worried about their children's future. People listened to radio updates with fear in their hearts. The crisis was not just about political strategy, it was about millions of lives that could disappear in seconds if leaders failed. When the final agreement was announced, relief spread across the world. Newspapers reported the removal of missiles. People returned to normal routines. Children went back to school without fear of air raid sirens. But for those inside the White House and the Kremlin, the memory remained heavy. They had seen the edge of destruction. They had felt how thin line between peace and war truly was. History often celebrates battles and victories, but sometimes the greatest victory is the one of that never happens. There were no parades for preventing World War III. There were no dramatic celebrations, yet millions of people continued living, loving, building families, and creating futures. Because nuclear war didn't begin in October 1962, that silent success is one of the most important moments in modern history. As years passed, historians studied the crisis deeply. They read secret documents, analyzed recordings of White House meetings, and examined Soviet archives. The more they learned, the clearer one fact became. The world survived because leaders resisted extreme pressure from their own advisors. It is easy to act aggressively when surrounded by voices demanding strength. It is much harder to remain calm when everyone expects immediate action. The crisis is also reshaped diplomacy. International relations slowly moved toward structured dialogue and crisis management. Governments developed better systems to prevent misunderstanding. The fear of nuclear war encouraged states like the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. These agreements were not perfect, but they showed that enemies could negotiate when the alternative was destruction. Today, when people speak about the possibility of World War III, they often forget how close it already came. The Cuban Missile Crisis stands as proof that global disaster is not impossible. It can develop from fear, pride, and miscalculation, but it also proves that wisdom, patience, and communication can stop it. The difference between catastrophe and peace can depend on a few calm minds during chaotic hours. If there is one final lesson from this story, it is this: leadership is not about never facing crisis. It is about facing crisis without losing humanity. Kennedy and Khrushchev were political rivals. They represented opposing systems, yet in their most difficult moment, they recognized a shared responsibility to protect human life. That recognition saved the world from unimaginable loss. The world didn't change in one dramatic explosion, it changed because war didn't happen. Sometimes the most powerful events are the ones that leave no visible damage. In October 1962, humanity stood at the edge of nuclear darkness because of careful decisions, honest communication, and courage under pressure. The world stepped back, and that is why World War III didn't begin. Not because there was no tension, not because there was no weapons, but because in the most dangerous moment, leaders chose restraint over revenge, dialogue over destruction, and survival over pride. The future remained open because peace, even fragile peace, was chosen. When we look back at history, we often search for heroes in battle, but sometimes the true heroes are those who prevent the battle from starting.